So let's go over 5 crazy trades, okay, that could happen, that could change things before the deadline, after the deadline, next year, and so on, that folks might not be thinking of right now, but these are pretty significant trades. Some of the players that are being talked about, some of them are not, but these all represent trades that address needs for both teams. Now, there's some of the trades will be short-term, obviously immediate needs for one, and longer-term because of prospect haul on the other. So the needs are still addressed, but they're based on, again, where the teams are deficient, where the teams are struggling, and so on. So, but these can change things in the baseball. So, and these are also fun to do. So let me know what you think. Trade number 1 involves the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim and the Colorado Rockies. So a West Coast trade, okay, interleague West Coast trade. In this case, the Colorado Rockies would be sending starting pitcher German Marquez, looking at my baseball book, Trevor Story, shortstop, and Daniel Bard, elite reliever, who's also under control until 2023. And Marquez, 2025. Story's obviously a free agent after this year. Sending him over to the Los Angeles Angels in exchange for Joe Adell, former super-duper prospect, who still has a boatload of talent, but he's kind of struggled to transition into the majors so far. But you could tell he still has an elite bat and elite tools. Jeremiah Jackson, the number 4 prospect, a shortstop. And there would be no need for him if they got Story and extended him. And this is the type of trade that the Angels need to make to set themselves up for this year and next year and the years after that. Especially with Trout coming back. They're still deficient, and they need pitching, starting and bullpen. This gives them that. And this gives them an elite shortstop as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if they involved Iglesias back in the trade, sending him back to the Colorado Rockies either. But after Jackson and Adell will be Jack Okanowicz, their number 6 prospect, a right-handed pitcher, and Hector Guillen, their number 9 prospect, a left-handed pitcher. So prospect haul going back to the Rockies with a major league player who could blossom over there in Colorado, hitting the balls and take absent over the fence, and I think he'd be really, really good in Colorado. And Adell. So, and then again, the Angels get a starter, a reliever, and a starting shortstop. So big haul for the Angels short term, massive haul for the Rockies long term. Okay. In the second trade, New York Mets and the Chicago Cubs. National League trade, baby. So in this one, the Mets would acquire Chris Bryant, who is generating a lot of talk right now before the deadline, particularly with the Mets. But instead of bringing just Bryant, they're going to bring Kyle Hendricks as well because they need another starter, particularly with the uncertainty revolving around Thor, Syndergaard, and Carlos Carrasco. So, and losing another pitcher to Tommy John. So, Craig Kimbrell will come back too, who's having essentially the Jacob deGrom equivalent season for a relief pitcher. Has a ridiculous season. Super duper elite. He's back. And again, he's also under control until 2023. Higher end contract, but this is the type of trade that the Mets, could not only afford to do, but they'd be offsetting with some deals too. The Cubs might eat some of Kimbrell's money, but the Mets have kind of shown that they want to win either now or in the next couple of years. So this is the type of package they need to bring in to facilitate that win now thing. Okay. In exchange, Dom Smith will be going back to the Cubs. It's going to cost Dom Smith if you want Chris Bryant and Kimbrell and Hendricks. So. J.T. Ginn, their number 6 prospect, a right-handed pitcher. Brett Beatty, number 4 prospect, a third baseman. No need for him with Bryant there. He's not better than Bryant. Okay. Pete Crow Armstrong, number 5 prospect, an outfielder. And J.D. Davis. This is the type of package that's representative. The team's going to have to give up a haul to get these 3 frontline players. And these are 3 immediate frontline players. So this is what I'm talking about. Big short-term, big long-term. Both sides addressing what they need. The Cubs need a boatload of prospects and a couple of players who can play immediately. They're getting both of that here. Okay. Number 3 trade involves the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Houston Astros. Oh, yep. And I know Ketel Marte hasn't really been discussed in Arizona. Arizona said they're probably not going to make him available, but if the right price approaches their inbox or on their phone line, I think they would consider it. In this case, Houston would be sending Pedro Leon, the number 2 prospect, a shortstop/outfielder. Hunter Brown, number 3 prospect, a right-handed pitcher. Tyler Ivey, number 8 prospect, a right-hander. And Zach Daniels, number 11 prospect, an outfielder. So 3 top 10s, 2 of which are top 5s. Okay, over to the Diamondbacks in exchange for Ketel Marte and Zach Gallen. Okay, remember, keep in mind too, Michael Brantley's contract expires after next year. Ketel Marte represents a perfect replacement. Having them together for the rest of this year and next year is nice, but he can also step in and replace him. He's an upgrade over Michael Brantley. But having that versatility this year and next could put the Astros in immediate position to really stay up top in the American League. So, and that's what Marte does. And getting another starter, controllable starter on the back end with Greinke on the decline. They're already minus Cole, already minus Verlander. So they need another starting pitcher, and this gives them what they need: a starting pitcher and a controllable, versatile player who's an elite player. And in exchange for several good prospects over to the Arizona Diamondbacks to help them facilitate a much more rapid rebuild, because that's what they need to do. They're not competing. So that's number 3. Number 4, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Texas Rangers. So in this one, the Cardinals would acquire starting pitcher Kyle Gibson, who's a free agent in 2023, and he's having a really great year. Even though he's a little bit older, he's having a really great year, and I think a change of scenery to the NL would do him some good. Okay, and Joey Gallo, because they need another bat, and he's an elite left-handed bat. Even though he has some strikeout issues, you put him in that lineup with Goldschmidt and Arenado and some of those other guys, I think he'll become a more disciplined and just a better hitter overall, and he'll probably cut down on some of those Ks. So Cardinals would get those two in exchange for Zach Thompson, the number 5 prospect, left-handed pitcher, John Torres, the number 7 prospect and outfielder, and Junior Fernandez, the number 8 prospect, the right-handed pitcher. 3 top 10s going over to the Texas Rangers in exchange for Gibson and Gallo. It might take another player. It might, but 3 top 10s is a good representative package for guys like this. And these are not guys that have 3 or 4 years of control. They're both free agents after next year. So something to keep in mind to justify the package and the balance of the package. And last but not least, trade number 5 involves the Yankees and the Brewers. You didn't think I was going to leave the Yankees out, did you? In this case, the Milwaukee Brewers would acquire first baseman Luke Voit and elite relief pitcher Chad Green. Okay, both of which are under control. Voit until 2025, Green until 2024. So good controllable years at 2 cost-effective players, which is right up the Brewers' alley, since they don't want to continually add a lot of salary to the payroll. But it also addresses 2 big needs on their end, especially with injuries and lack of performance on their end. So they'd get a first baseman and an elite reliever, and you pair him with Josh Hader and some of those other guys, that's a good thing. Particularly with Hader actually getting hit recently a little bit too. In exchange for Ethan Small, their number 4 prospect, the left-handed pitcher. Aaron Ashby, number 7 prospect, another left-handed pitcher. Tristan Lutz, number 12 prospect, an outfielder. And Patrick Weigel, the number 17 prospect, the right-handed pitcher. So a lot of these 3 pitching prospects for the Yankees, but the thing that's important about that is they're all close to the major leagues. They're all like a year away, or maybe even less. So instead of getting huge power arms that could be 5 years away, these are more experienced and kind of older guys a little bit who can filter through the top levels of this system and fill up the top levels of their system immediately, which is what they need. They're kind of deficient in pitching prospects up and down the system, and give them a chance to make the major league roster in the immediate future, which is what also something the Yankees need. And another outfield prospect to give them prospect depth too. So the Yankees can afford to make a trade like this, and because you have Chris Gittens, who's 3 years younger than Luke Voit, but still has that right-handed power bat, and he's pretty solid at first base as well. And they have another relief pitcher that they can slide in and replace Chad Green. It would hurt temporarily to lose Chad Green, but they have relievers coming back from injury and unfortunately in COVID IL. But they have young power arms in the system as well. That's the thing the Yankees do best, developing young power relief arms. So much better than starters and position players. So it just is what it is right now. They're dealing from a position of strength. Even though Chad Green was acquired by the Tigers, he still represents lead arm for the Yankees, dependable, and he would be a great get for the Brewers. And again, this prospect call would be a necessary get for the Yankees. And again, this is not trading Judge. This is not trading Chapman or Bryant. I know some people want these guys to be traded. If they can be traded, there might be a trade out there for them. I've already done a video on trading Judge. I know you know how I feel. I know how people feel about it. And so it is what it is. But I think this trade represents a good get for the Yankees prospect haul. So, and those guys can be replaced. So let me know what you think of these 5 trades. Propose some of your own. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time.